Yo, squad, what's up? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I get just give you squad. So, on today's episode, we are basically going to try and answer some few questions. For those who already know me, you know I'm in China. I've been in China for some few months now. And those who knew me back then in uni will know that China was and has always been the dream, sha. I mean, if not for COVID, which originally came from where I am, like person for done day China since the 80s. But well, if you are meant to come here, you go come, even if it takes years. So yes, I'm in China, I'm in Lanzhou University. I'm doing language study. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. But basically, I came somewhere around almost ending of last year, and it has been nothing short but a great experience. Having to study Chinese language in UG for 4 years, and then finally I get to come. I left a lot of things behind. My friends, proper Ghanaian food. Oh, I miss my Friday morning team bonding kinky with proteins. And then I came to a community where their main dishes are veggies, rice, noodles. Noodles most out here. We have beef noodles, soup noodles, stir fried noodles, just name it. Like there was a point in my life where I'm sure even if you decide to draw blood from my veins, you smell either rice or noodles. Cause Charlie, nipe dia anything. Anyways, so yes, I'm in Lanjo. Lanjo is not a bad place. I mean, if you are here or if you're in Ghana and you want to come to China using my route and at the same time considering it as a vacation, then I recommend Lanjo because cost of living is affordable here compared to the big cities. So you could just stay here, steady, save up on vacations, you go and travel. I mean, that's what most of my friends are doing, which I also did. But yeah, most of my classmates, I mean, during the vacation, we vacated somewhere around 10th January and we opened the ending of February. Most of them went to Shanghai, Beijing. Some even traveled out of China, just name it. I went to another province, spent some few days and then I came back. China. When I was coming, I remember very well my words was like, get ready for cultural shock. Honestly, I'm still looking for the cultural shock because it's like I already knew what to expect in China. I remember somewhere in 2019, transition to 2020, when I wrote the HSK, and then I knew which school I wanted to come to. No one had to tell me to, do my search. And I'm that kind of person that I'll rather look for the information myself than to hear from somebody. So I did the research myself, selected the schools, looked at the cities that they are, went to the school's website, had to do, that kind of thing where you go to Google and then it shows you the lens and the vicinity and things you have to see. It was quite hard, but I mean, I was able to get it because if you know China very well, you know that their firewall is very strong. Without a VPN, in fact, I can't access this YouTube right now. So I knew what I was expecting. I knew where I was coming to. The only thing I didn't really know was, I had to make sure that when I was coming, I bring enough food. And at least I had a few friends who had already been to China. So they told me, see, don't bother. You don't need too many clothes. I mean, most of the clothes we even wear in Ghana is not China that we buy from. And you all can attest to it. You have people doing period at this, period at this. All these periods, they are coming from China. You understand? So I also didn't bother. All I needed were most of my undies because obviously I'll not leave Ghana and then come and buy undies here. So most of the underwears and a few tops here and there. And when I came, we were almost into winter. So you obviously have to buy winter stuff. But I bought a correct jacket from Kant. I don't regret it. Shout outs to Josephine. Josephine is a friend who helped me buy it because I mean I was busy with work. I was still working till I think 2 or 3 days before I came to China. So Josephine helped me buy most of my stuff. God being so good. She's also not in as if I want to borrow Trini Jonas' word, she's not in the phone. She's also decided to leave and pursue her own path. So she's left the phone for Adodi and her and his family. So yeah, Josephine helped me buy it, and I mean, it was able to protect me from the cold. Lanzhou is in Gansu province, northwest of China, and trust me, it's very good. Northwest in Pune. Then those in Beijing and Harbin, they can attest to it, say Charlie Jai. Our our move Pro Max. In fact, when we came, like the way I'm seated here right now, I would have had blanket covering myself because it was so cold that you could be shaking, like you are shivering. I said, when you fever, no, you see when you get and you are sick and you can't even do anything. The way you shake in bed, yes, till God means you the turn on the Nuanchi. That's more like a heater. It's a centralized system where when they realize that it's so cold to the extent that there's nothing they can do, then they turn it on. You don't regulate it. So it's like a coil with warm water passing through and then it provides heat. Right now the temperature is somewhere around, if I'm correct, 5 degrees. So yeah, it's okay, it's 21. 21 is almost like temperature in Ghana. But trust me, when you go out, even though the sun is hot, you still be feeling cold. Like it's a mixed, and I'll always choose this temperature over Ghana situation because I don't remember the last time I saw sweat. See, if you are those kind of people that don't like to bath, I'm sure when you come to China, you won't bath because you won't sweat, you won't smell bad. Unless, because I don't remember the last time I actually perceived a foul scent. Unless maybe I decided to go and run around, jog around, or maybe like my roommate who is a badminton player, he invited me sometime to go and play. So that one, yes, I sweat. I had a lot of sweat. So when I came back, I just came to shower, then did change of clothes. Apart from that, like you barely smell or perceive. But oh yes, obviously the indigenes have their own scent, and that one there's nothing you can do about it. So here we came, and here we are. Our Chinese is not yet up to where we expect it to be, but it's better. I mean, if you give me 10 years to stay here, by the time I come, I don't think I'll be able to even. And I actually now understand Dr. Kumar because back then in UG, his English was whack. And I remember telling someone that Master, I want to buff. Meaning, if you don't really know how to express your articulate yourself in English, you don't. But to some extent, I feel it's something natural because there are times where, because you are predominantly speaking a particular language, your brain is functioning in that angle. So you barely could even remember the English version of it. Here in China, yes, there are people here who actually cannot speak anything, and then they are able still able to, coordinate their life because what you can buy things online. For instance, if I should take my phone, let me just open it and see. If I open my phone, I don't know if you guys can see. So these are my shopping apps. The yellow one is Meituan for food, drinks, just name it. The other one is Taobao. It has clothes, devices, any other thing you want. JD or Jindu, if I got it correct. It also has, it's literally the same as Taobao. They are just varieties. It's just like in Ghana we have Jumia and what? Ololo Express. That's the only two apps I remember. Yeah. So and then there are some other apps that have no have I barely use them, but then basically this is my favorite. Pinduoduo and 1688. 1688 is for wholesale. The maximum or the minimum we can buy is two, and to be considered as wholesale. So if I open Pinduoduo, for instance, um, you literally see anything and everything. All you need to do is just search. So let me just click on this. So if there's someone here who cannot even speak Chinese here, all the person has to do is buy according to the picture. So you just see, okay, this is a bedside table. Eh? So you know. Then what do? You click here and then you select the one you want to buy according to your purchasing power. What is your purchasing power? The money. So it ranges from 17.9 kwai to 33 kwai. So when you click on one, for instance, I've clicked on the 33 kwai, you can just go ahead and click on the image. It shows you what you are buying and you are good to go. You just buy. And then in less than, or let's say from the day you make a purchase or you decide to book, you have plus or minus 3 to 4 days, you get it. There's always a peak season. In that peak season, you can even buy today and then it will be delivered the same day. For instance, today's Friday, so 2 days ago, I ordered for the same bedside mat, but not from this app. Sorry, bedside table, and it was brought to me today. In fact, I knew I was going to get it today because on the app they told me I was going to get it today. So today, somewhere around 10 a.m., I got a text message that my ID, as we all call it here, had arrived. So when it arrives, you get this message. Let me translate it for you so that you see. So this is the message you get. So you tell me how you will not be able to live in China, even if you can't speak. Maybe you would be scared of going out, but then the good thing is when you go out, you can just decide to translate, or you can just do jigga jigga jigga. Jigga is basically like this. So for instance, you go to the supermarket and you see this, you can just say jigga, do wash out chain. I mean that one is quite easy for everyone to see. If you feel you can't say it, you just point jigga, then the person will mention the price for you. So if the person mentions it and you feel you still don't understand, tell the person to write. Take your phone. Oh, sorry, I have Chinese written there. So you take your phone, translate, and then show it to the person. The person will give you the price. Asa, I have people here who do that. In fact, I have a few friends here who can barely speak Chinese. And then they'll always, initially when I came, they'll come and call you. Oh, my market. It means that can you escort me to the market to get something? And it was annoying because why? There are times that I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay in bed. But because this person wants you to assist them, you now have to fully get dressed and go out. And I mean, that was during the peak season of winter. Why would I want to be walking around just going to speak or doing your translation job? Do you know how much my friends are taking for translation in Ghana? That's just by the way. But then later I realized that, okay, well, yeah, it's going to help me to be able to perfect my Chinese because if I go out there and then I speak the Chinese and it's bad, though they'll not kind of tell you your Chinese is bad, some of them will be polite and correct you. Some of them too will get what you're trying to say. And then if within you, some of course, sometimes there are things I say and I know that I didn't get it grammatically correct, but they understand because it's their language. Then I'll ask you, check how you use them sure. Meaning how do you say it in Chinese? I nearly said in English. Then the person will correct it. And Chinese are just so limao, so polite that even when you open your mouth to say ni hao, they'll go ahead and say ni da han yu shipping, how, or your Chinese is your Chinese level is good, or the han yu shipping biaojuan. Like they just want to compliment you so that, and I feel in a way it's like I don't know what to say, but it's more like it's a way of saying that what you are doing, if they were learning English, they can't do it like that. Because trust me, even my Chinese teacher was like, she's been learning English, though she's traveled outside of China a lot. She's been learning English, and then her English is not as good as, let's say, my Chinese would be, even though I know my Chinese is not that good. And she has a point because for you to come and leave your country and say you are learning Chinese, Charlie, you really they try. And you know very well, if I don't know if you people know, but you know that within me, I know that my Chinese hasn't gotten to where I wanted to get. There are people that when they open their Chinese to speak, even me, I'll be like, guy, your Chinese, like a tiapo, like you are speaking. Because they open their mouth and then they won't even have to think of what to say. You just, and then it's coming like that. So for you to be able to learn, It's good. So and Chinese are like that. They will always praise you. There's a shushu down there, more like an ankle. So you see in hostels or in halls back in uni, we have potters. So let me see an uncle who is a potter down there. When this man opens his mouth to speak, I can barely hear anything because what I've actually discovered, and my last said it, but I also started to see it. When a Chinese male opens his mouth to talk, you can barely hear anything. Like a duck. Excuse me to say, but like a duck talking, you can barely hear anything. But when the females open their mouth, you can actually hear and be able to respond. But then the males, you can't hear anything. So if you are not someone who is knowledgeable enough and who has stayed with them, like forget it. You always say Timbudon or you say eh. And then when they realize that Charlie the can fire, then you just go your way. Like it's not easy, honestly. It's so not easy. I remember when I had to during the vacation, I had to use the train to another province. I was scared because I felt like, hey, so what if they ask me a question and then I'm not able to answer? Or what if I get missing? But then the nice thing about being in China is that maps near Juma. Like when I say the system works and the maps near Juma. So I use an iPhone. Okay, let's go to where's my maps? Not Google Maps, iPhone Maps. So you know iPhone has a map. I don't know if you can see it. And let me click or let me type Northwest Normal University. So Northwest Normal University is a university that is closer to me. Okay. I don't know if maybe you can also try it wherever you are watching me from. So this is it. When I click on directions, it is going to show me how to get there if I decide to walk, how to get there if I decide to order Didi. Didi is like the Uber, the Chinese version of Uber, or which bus to take. So when I click on the first one means that I should go to the subway station, take or board line 1 train, and then alight at Cultural Palace. But usually that's a long route for me. So what do? I usually take bus 131. So let me. I think I got the location wrong. There's another location. Let me normal not. So they have two campuses. So let me use the other one. So usually I prefer going with this, the second one. I don't know if you guys can see it. So what to tell you is take bus 131 to show you the exact place to take. Their buses are numbered. So the next time I go out, I'll take evidence show you. Their buses are numbered. So when it says bus 131, when I go to the bus stop, I will not take any other bus but line bus 131. When I take bus 131, in the bus, even if you can't speak Chinese, they will tell you, Xia Yijan. And then they'll speak it. I've forgotten the whole phrase that they usually say. But let's say, assuming the bus was coming from Northwest Normal, Xia Yijan, Lanzhou Dashue, meaning next stop is Lanzhou University. So they'll say this in Chinese and say it in English. Nti sɛ wode wonte hwee koraa, just wait for the English version. Or when I came fresh, what I usually used to do was when I check my maps to tell me it's 23 stops from where I'll be taking the bus from. So when I enter the bus, in the bus, next time I'll do a follow-up video and then I'll show you. In the bus, there's a screen that is displaying from where you pick to where you alight or wherever the last stop is. So when I go there quickly, I'll count the stops 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'll just be looking at the lights. So lights, no, me, I always make sure that menu also. If not, Charlie, no, because trust me, when I came, I'll say my Chinese was rusty, even though it's still rusty, but it's better than before. It was rusty in the sense that I stayed away from Chinese reading and writing and even hearing the Chinese speak for a very long time. I'm not that kind of person that really had interest in watching Chinese movies, particularly because they are really long. Like they can create one movie and then or a series, and season one, episode one is like 1 hour. Charlie Nana mean to me. I can't. I just can't. So I'd rather avoid all those things. But when I came, I realized that it helps because there are people who actually learn their Chinese from just watching Chinese movies. So I'll count, and then once it gets there, ping, I liked. When I liked, and then from where I liked, I have to take another bus. I have to walk. I'll just input it in my maps. So Apple Maps really, really works. If you don't want to use Apple Maps, then you have to use Baidu. Baidu will give you Chinese, strictly Chinese. So if you can't read Chinese, then obviously you have to use Apple Maps. Even with Apple Maps, if I decide to change my phone settings to Chinese, it will give me the language in Chinese. That's how it works. But maybe for anyone using an iPhone, you can try it in Ghana or any other place you're watching from. And let's see if it works like that. If it doesn't work, then there's one thing I will say, probably because we've not provided enough data for them to be able to allocate it like that. I don't know if you get it. I'm not using, for lack of a better word, maybe I'm not using it, but this thing relies on database that you provide a system with. So if you don't have enough database, then obviously it's not going to work. In Ghana, you can order a boat or Uber, and then the driver will ask you, "Mpacho, you're going, which means where are we going to?" Like, you are you not seeing it on the map? See, if your map reading is not good, you can't live in China because you will need to be reading maps. If you don't read maps over here, especially if you can't even speak Chinese, are you going to access Chinese? If fine, let's assume you don't want to read maps and you're going to access Chinese, and then the Chinese tells you go lu wan ho wan chenzo. If they tell you this, how will you understand? Unless maybe you take your phone and then you 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 input a translator or something, then whatever the person says, you you translate. But if not, then now how about you? So to avoid all this timbudon or this brouhaha in your head, then the best thing is for you to just eja, read maps or learn how to read maps. If you are someone who has an ambition to come to China to study, whether be it masters, PhD, 1 year Chinese language, whatever, in September or any other year or the years ahead, Charlie, learn how to read the maps. You can try it in Ghana. And when I came here, an eye opener for me was that, Charlie, I was wondering why, like, it could be some. Let me borrow someone's word. I had a friend who would be like, "Lanka China, you cry, nipa be free Ghana so." But when you take it on a surface level, yes, Lanka China and you cool. But then on another level, you realize that any no is better than nothing. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that someone will be like, "Oh, why China? Why would you even want to come to China?" Because I mean, if you look at it, it's better to be at home than to leave your country and come to China. But you realize that their systems are working. They are putting things in place. I'm sure whoever decided to start building China knew that a day like this was going to come, where they will actually need to make sure that they've put things in place. Like when you look at China back then, you realize that China was nobody. Like, and that is what I feel US is afraid of now, because there's going to be a time in our years ahead where China, whether you like it or not, they are going to dominate. In fact, they are already dominating. Like they quote unquote, they say Lanzhou is a village, but see, if I decide to show you things around in Lanzhou, you ask yourself, say, but isn't not the same people who come to our country to come and pick our resources? So why are they picking our resources and making it better? Like, I look at Accra more and then I ask myself, say, so this is what we pride ourselves in. Just a mall, one big building in China, it's like all the malls in Ghana put together. Like, it's serious, oh. Like, it's not like I'm trying to condemn my country or anything, but we really need to demand from more from our leaders. Like, we deserve better because these people have it. Their population. The last time I went to the park and then a Chinese came to sit by me, and we are having a conversation. He was even telling me, if I remember correctly, the province or the city I even find myself in, their population is even more than my country's population. And yes, obviously there are poor people here, but their level of poorness is even rich to some extent if they decide to come to Ghana and live because they will be rich men. Because tell me why, let me just do the correct conversion. Tell me why one yuan, eh, 1 yuan is one cedi 80 pesos. 1 yuan is one cedi 80 pesos. Like how? Not just say if someone decides to bring 1,000 yuan to Ghana, that's what 1,800 and something, 1,803. As for naira, we won't even talk because they are brothers, not just they are even worse. 1,000 renminbi is 195,000, 50.50 whatever naira, and then in Ghana cities is 1,800, and 1,000 yuan in China is a lot of money. Like it's really a lot of money, especially if you are not someone who goes out a lot. You decide to cook. These people are always eating veggies. They are always eating rice. They are always eating potato, like healthy living. So if sorry, if someone is here and let's say even that's the least amount the person is paid for just being a delivery person in Pua, trust me, they've made it because their population is a lot. Like the Chinese guy was like they're about 1 point something billion. Billion, no, not million, billion. So obviously it means that not everyone will get to do the white collar jobs. And then one thing I've noticed about Chinese, there's dignity in labor. Tell me why on the first day I got to Guangzhou, no, it wasn't even Guangzhou, no, Lanzhou, the Lanzhou airport, the taxi I sat in, it was a lady who was driving. And it was around 1 something a.m. 1 a.m. in my country, 1 a.m. Girl, no, wada. Like 1 a.m. she's asleep. She's called that Bema. Let no one come for me. She's comfortable sleeping in her boyfriend's house or in her father's house or in her husband's house. But 1 a.m., a woman was driving us from the Lanzhou airport to my school. And I was surprised. Me, in fact, I was so hungry that whatever she was saying, I wasn't even bothered. And I was just munching on the snacks that it was given to me in the plane, and I decided not to eat because, man, I was really hungry. Flying almost like 18 hours from Ghana. Charlie, it's an experience. I was tired. Like they find dignity in it. And then when you buy something online, they are in boxes. If you like, let me throw the box away right now, you will find another person picking it from the box. They are always scavenging for stuff. And that is what I think is making them become a greater force in the world because they realize that Charlie, if we don't do it, nobody will do it for us. So they are doing it. The only downside is what? You just be working in town and then someone will doing. I don't want to do it because it's kind of nasty, but then you know what I'm trying to say. They'll be trying to remove flames or whatever from their throat. And see, if you're not used to that thing, you will get angry. They'll just be spitting anywhere and everywhere, like they don't care. I remember on New Year's Eve, I went to the club. Inside the club, like the pathway to the club, like the room of the club, whatever. Someone was spitting on the floor. I was like, ah, oh my god. Just a like, and it's something I already knew because I'd already been told that even at the airport, they don't care, they don't mind spitting. And you see, in Ghana, I don't know if it's same can be said about other African countries, but in Ghana or maybe on from where I come from, when you spit, at least you have the like the decency to rub your feet on it or to throw sand and cover it. But here they don't care. No matter the size, show on the floor, they'll go. Like it's their culture. And there's nothing you can do. So it's either you live here or you leave. That is how it is. There's a phrase like "Wu shan sui su." When you go to Rome, you do what the Romans do. So you can't tell me that oh Chinese people are this. No one has sent you to come to China. Just stay in your country. If you know what you want to come and do here, you will come. You won't be bothered. That's what I used to tell people. I remember when I came, my friends would be like, "Oh, I learned Chinese are racist." Honestly, yes. As much as they are racist, do I care? No. Like, do I care? Does I care? And family, You bow because I know what I came here to do. If you like, come and touch my skin and ask me why I'm black. If I have an answer for you, I'll tell you. If I don't have an answer for you, I'll leave. Like I don't really care. I feel like everyone should just learn to mind their business. Be in your lane, I'll be in my lane. Yes, there are times where you can clearly see that they are being racist. For instance, tell me why we go to class and then there's an old man in my class who is constantly coming to class late. Like we all know. Laoshu will come to class and ask, Nimendo Lama. And then we all just say, hi or Yigaran, meaning there's still one person. And then Laoshu will be like, Shay. And then I in particular say Bata. That's the person of like that's how we call the person. And then tell me why this woman will not write anything and wait for the person to come and the person will sign. They take attendance. That's one annoying thing. And then when the person signs, she will not say anything no. But there was just one time that my roommate came to class late. My roommate signed, and then the Laoshu wrote behind or near to his name that he was late. If this is not a form of racism, then I don't know what it is because this person I'm talking about who always comes to class late, even this semester, he's always late. Waba and Thelma not just say 1 minute to the start of class. And we all saw it, like, but I mean, what can you do? It's their country, what can you do? There's absolutely nothing you can do. When we came back, we just came to level where I was like, Charlie, you no need after all, what you go take to nothing. Annoying, but we move. And you can't skip class. See, Chinese people will stress you. Like, I feel like they are paying you to study. So make use of it. They'll be like, okay, so you want the money. You are going to class, like whether you like it or not. I don't know if it's in other schools, but my school, like from Monday to Friday, like overcore class. There are days where you just be juggling between classes. Pa, pa, pa. So if you don't schedule your day well, and nothing annoys me more than the fact that after every class, they'll give you an assignment. And they can literally give you a whole, like, for instance, my last class for today was in the morning. Then she will say that, okay, since you have the weekend, so yeah, then she will give you a whole passage to go and read, answer, and aside that, you come and act in class because it's an oral speaking class. So, rubbish. For instance, last semester we used this book. In fact, my teacher, my this semester's teacher, she's like, why am I trying to be lazy now? I'm not supposed to be in the elementary class, blah blah blah. Charlie, me, I'm on a vacation in China. That's what I told myself. I'm on a vacation. Though I'm studying, I'm on a vacation. So making no can stress me. When I start masters, then I can be stressed. But right now it's just relaxing. Like let me relax. If you like, give me 1K. I don't mind. I'm relaxed. Tell me why a book as thick as this will be taught in one whole semester. And then when the exams is approaching, they'll expect you to learn everything. Like when I say everything, I mean everything. And they'll bring questions. So you're going to sit down and write an exams for like almost 2 hours. You are going to produce how many pages were in this book? 294. Yes. I know people will be like, oh, but we read books more than that. But imagine having to read Chinese characters. Some of you say, oh, Chinese drawings. And then you have to make sure you remember everything. Even if it was speaking, I can any problem. So this one is speaking. So obviously we had to speak because obviously I can remember some. Imagine having to write. And you can't tell me when you're writing a character. If for instance I want to write this character called this one, and then I write this side, this side, this side, and then I leave this side. The moment you leave this side, it means you've created another character. So you have to make sure you're writing it perfectly. If not, you are going to, and China is not like Ghana where I don't know how the Ghanaian lectures were marking, but I'm sure they were considering us because they knew that, oh, I mean, it was more like a motivation. But in China, once one PA China, the assumption is that you are smart. You wrote the HSK and you passed. You are in China. Inti, prove to me that you are smart enough. So yes, also no baby steps here, unless somebody who is self-funding and is now wanting to study Chinese. And the also. But once you're on scholarship, Allah alive. No room for the lazy. You learn. Hey, like they'll drill you, like they'll stretch you. So if you know you are lazy like me, I beg, shall sapo moons you. Let me do a literal translation. Dip your sponge in water and come. Because Nana, you work for that money. They are not going to pay you that kind of money for you to come and just eat and sleep. Which technically I was doing, but I mean we still passed. Not that I'm smart, but you have to do 1 plus 1, like as Sabinus will say. You have to make sure you strategize, if not Charlie. And yes, that's basically it. China is actually a fun place to be. I mean, it's fun. I'm sure this will not be the first content you are watching. You watch other content where people are actually literally in the market and engaging them. And you see, I don't blame them that much. For instance, without my VPN, all I have access to is WeChat. If I open my WeChat right now, every content over there is China. Like every content I open is China. So let me just try and open something for you. 学鸟叫，学狼叫，So 学羊叫，tell me why they will not be curious that or curious to ask you why you are black or where you come from or why they'll be surprised that you are speaking Chinese because they don't have access to YouTube unless you use VPN. So it's recently that most of them are even having access to YouTube, VPN. Had it not been that, I'm sure a typical Chinese will not even be bothered to use a VPN. On peso bemu they cost one thing. You understand? And then they can easily propagate uh, propaganda because Charlie, like they'll spoil the West. I mean, or the rest of us in the East, so that you will not believe that there's something outside China, and it's fine. It's not their fault. Do you understand? To some extent, I feel it's okay, but not okay. What am I saying is okay? For instance, we find ourselves in Ghana where right now it's like we don't even have a life of our own. Most of the things we do are influenced by Western world or things we see on the screens. So it's like we've adopted some foreign culture. But in China, before you even get to see the foreign culture, now not just say probably you've grown old enough to own your own handset and you decided that or you came to discover that there's VPN so I can see what is happening outside. But had it not been that, I don't think you will see anything. You understand? So I don't blame them that much. It's just up to us, those of us that we find ourselves here to educate them on it. And I mean, they're great content. Like a lot of people on WeChat channels, YouTube, that are educating them. And even with that, they still find it strange. Like, but I mean, it's a step by step process. I'm sure there are some cities in China that they've never seen foreigners, like especially my kind. If you go to Guangzhou there is like quote unquote circle, or let me say quote unquote Times Square because they receive foreigners a lot. Shanghai too like that. They receive foreigners a lot. So you can't tell me they've not. We even have a whole Ghanaian community there, like or black community. There are restaurants in Guangzhou that sell Ghanaian food owned by Chinese and Ghanaians. Like so that place there, you will feel at home to some extent. And that is where most of our importers go and buy stuff from because I mean that's where the sea is, that's where most of the factories are, phones, clothes, just name it. Like basically just that. Maybe there are other things I've not said, but I didn't want to make this video quite long. So I'll end it here. If you have any questions or question, you can leave it in the comment section. I'll answer you. Yeah, but then if you are planning on coming to China, I'll advise you to come. Even if it's just for a year and you want to go back home, why not? Feel free and come. And then even if you want to go to the US, the UK and all that, you just come and pass through China and go. Because ideally to get a Chinese visa is actually very difficult if you don't have a scholarship or if you don't have a reason to come here. Even travel visa, I learned it's so difficult to get, Charlie. Talk less of coming here to do business. So getting visa to come to China, yeah, me, I hope to travel the world though. Right now that I've been able to come one, we just pray to God to give us money so that we can be traveling. Because Charlie, when you travel, as Kinata said, travel and see. I will not going to say Charlie. From then to other, and it's nice actually. It's a nice feeling. I used Egypt Air when I was coming. I got to Egypt and their airport. Wow, those who used Ethiopia too can attest to it. Like you realize that Terminal 3, the child's play, like a playground. And they wow, I am time. Like it's not easy. Oh. There are so many things I've seen, and I realized that we are joking in my country. Like we have a long way to go. I wish there was hope, but me, I don't see any hope because those that we hope that they will do better things are the ones spoiling the country. For instance, your student leaders, what are they doing? Apple, they are even worse than the old men and women in power right now. There's no hope. If you ask me, there's no hope. Unless maybe you people think there's hope. Then you come and change the country. But me, left to me alone, Charlie. We are all just living our lives to God calls us to come. Without talking too much, I'll just end the stream here until we meet the next time. Next time, I'll try and bring you content out of my room. Maybe when I go to the market, I'll show you how and why you should even try and come to China because with as low as 50 kwai, you can literally buy a whole grocery. Like you can buy everything you want to cook for the month. I won't lie to you. Like I'm not exaggerating. You can actually do that. Because when you go to the market to buy a ball of tomato, yeah, like it's so big, like very, very big. When I say big, I mean very, very big. I can actually go to my kitchen or my fridge to pick one and show you. But I've used the big one, so I have moderate, but it's as big as this. So with just one ball, you can actually just slice and can prepare a big pot of soup or stew. The only thing that is a bit expensive is their meat. But even with that, I think it's okay. It's actually okay. The next when I'm probably when I'm doing grocery shopping for next month, I'll take you guys along and you see how it is like. And you see how neat their market is. At least according to where I am. Like I don't know for other markets, but I have been to other markets. Actually, when I went to Sichuan province, I went to the market and it was neat. Like very neat. When I say neat, I mean very, very, very neat. It wasn't like the ones that my people have or mm, it's actually comfortable. If I had my ways, if not for shipping fee and all those things, everything I need in China, I'll just ship down to Ghana for my family members to use because it's so cheap. Like if you don't have proper way of managing your finances here, when you come to China, trust me, if you are paid or when you receive your allowance, you always go broke because Nana, just search anything online and you will get it. But then there's also another thing. When it's so cheap, there are two things. It's either they are doing clearance sale or it's not good. So if it's not good, then be ready to buy another one. But I feel it's better than nothing. So I remember when growing up, people like, oh, made in China, where they are fake. But I'm here to tell you that made in China is actually good. The laptop I'm using is Lenovo. Lenovo is a Chinese brand. And you realize that it is our people who come to China to buy, who are buying us abroad. Or I don't even, what is abroad in English? You can leave it in the comment section for me. But then they are literally killing us. Why am I saying that? Because you can't bring, for instance, 1,000 Ghana cedis to China and expect to get goods worth 5 million renminbi or something. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the money you bring is will show the quality of goods they will give to you. So if you bring a substantial amount of money, you are going to get quality goods. But what they fufu buy, fufu. So what you get or what you see is what you get. Garbage in, garbage out. Gigo. So you don't expect to put 1,000 Ghana cedis and get 5 million renminbi worth of goods. Emfa. Like Emfa. That one day, that's the truth. So tell your importers to be buying quality. and be ready to pay for quality. And besides, hey, Adna nebo weddings are why shipping your mother? Shipping your mother. So don't ask why is it expensive. Why shipping and Kabun says is actually very expensive. Just that they are making, let me say, profits because they're able to break even. So it will be better for you to buy more and then you spread the cost. But if you are buying, let's say, five, six, and they actually on your conquer, yeah. So I'll end the video here. It was nice having you all here. Shout out to Edna. I mean, you are really trying for me, sir. All right, bye.